Now, GB News superstar Nana Akua joins me in Uncancelled. And their father-son duels have served up some of the most iconic scenes in cartoon history. But now woke producers are sucking the life out of the iconic comedy series The Simpsons after Homer, the father, announced on a recent episode that he will no longer choke his son Bart. Take a listen.
Whoa, that's quite a grip.
See, Marge? Strangling the boy has paid off. Just kidding, I don't do that anymore. Times have changed.
And comedy has died. So, following the show's latest PC makeover, are we sucking the fun out of life? Nana, great to have you back. Don't you want to strangle those woke TV producers instead?
Thank you. Honestly, seriously. I mean, look, I when I grew up, it was Tom and Jerry and and the woodpecker and all those things. And I'm pretty sure that there were plenty of episodes where the mouse got a hammer and smashed the cat over the head. And, look, I didn't turn out to be a violent person. I got it. It was a cartoon, and I worked out the difference between reality and a bit of fun. Bart Simpson and this whole thing, The Simpsons isn't actually really targeted at very young people anyway. So I'm sure adults watching that, whilst it does have a childlike humour and does appeal to young people, that wasn't their initial audience. And the idea that somebody having seen that will think, oh, that's a good idea. It's just comedy. It's just meant to be funny. And if you're an adult watching that, you probably wouldn't have your kids watching that anyway. But as an adult watching that, you might, if you don't.
These photographs are funny. I mean, Nana, did no one tell these numpties that they're not real human beings? It's a cartoon.
Well, that's the point. They're not real people. They're just cartoons. Somebody's drawn it to make people laugh. All the things in there, none of the things in there are likely to happen. They're parodies. It's a comedy. You're supposed to laugh. And if you don't like it, you can just press the button and change channels. I don't know why they've gone woke, but, go woke, go broke. We've seen it happen many times.
Definitely. When I read this story, I had one word: doll. Now, Nana, if you thought that was bad, a nursery in eastern Germany is dropping the Holocaust victim Anne Frank from its name to go for something, quote, more diverse. It will instead be called World Explorers because parents and staff wanted something without a political background. Given the flare-up of anti-Semitism across Europe, this feels problematic, doesn't it?
Well, it does a bit. And in particular, I mean, places like Germany, where, this has a very checkered past with all of that, doesn't it, really, with Hitler and their history. I would have thought that in these times, it might be wise to keep the name. And also, Anne Frank was an absolute legend, and it's kind of a hero of her time. So, this is something that, when we hear about how resilient she was, the diaries and everything that she did, how she went through the Holocaust, it's something that actually what it was saying in that piece was that really what they should do is actually give the parents a history lesson, an education lesson on who Anne Frank was and what exactly happened to her, because it's a sort of history that you never want to see repeated. But we seem to be seeing it happen now. And I think even now, more than ever, we need to keep the reminders of things like that present so that we don't repeat them again.
Well, I just wonder whether this is about appeasing certain groups in society, because they did talk about how diverse German society is now in a weird way that Anne Frank would somehow offend some families. I mean, this is a dark place to inhabit, isn't it?
Well, why would that offend somebody? It's something that's placed on there to have a look at some of the history that's behind it. And, I mean, of course, Anne was hidden in an annex, wasn't she? And it was a cleaner who eventually sort of, got them out and told everybody where they were. But, it was a story of how they survived. And it was an incredible journey as well. And I think we like something with a historical context, a story and a meaning to it. And what are they going to call it? The Beyonce Ward? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's a bit like putting Beyonce in a history book as something for the kids to study. It feels a bit shallow.
Well, definitely, you're so right. And listen, the school have said that they just didn't want somebody political. Well, I don't think Anne Frank is political. She's an incredible human being, a teenage girl that kept a diary whilst being pursued by the Nazis. She was not political. You are, though, Nana. Your show is unmissable. You're absolutely knocking it out of the park every weekend. And Nana Akua is back on Saturday at 3. See you then, Nana.
See you then.